welcome in. I'm having a bit of a munch and crunch session here. I was getting a bit hangry. You guys are the last group that I am reading for. I've been reading in groups of 3, and it is now getting closer to the end of the day, and I have dinner plans. So, let's just see how we go with our readings here. Oh, excuse me. I would like to finish up these readings in under an hour if I can. So we'll see how we go. All right, I am reading double blind again. This is our unknown sign that I'm reading for. It was just really beneficial for me to do the double blind readings for the new moon. So I've decided to continue on doing these double blind readings. I integrated my own readings for myself better. So while I'm doing this for the collective, there's no real reason why I can't also benefit from these readings myself. Okay, we have got the nectar. The nectar, the Amritam, the God's grace when we are connected to Source. We have got the gem, the jewel, the willpower, the seat of our will to work and manifest and do anything in life. And we have got the sword. Interesting. Our ability to discern between night and day, good and bad, light and shadow aspects. We have got, let's just stop there for a moment. So the card that popped out for this collective and was the 9 of Cups. And the 9 of Cups is the card of complete and utter wish fulfillment. Everything you hope, everything you want, everything you desire. And so I really think that this message for this collective is about, just your own ability to discern what is right path. Let's take this one. We've got projection, the world as your emotional canvas, right? So really honing back in on the law of attraction this month and looking at how are we manifesting our desires? And if not, how do we bring ourselves back into alignment so that we can? All right, so the general situation here, we've got the 8 of Pentacles, which is our working card. It's about perfecting a skill, continuing to do something over and over again until we get it right. We have got the Tower in reverse, and we have got the Lovers. Wow. Okay, this is interesting. So if we continue to hone our connection to the divine, to expand and broaden our crown chakra, to connect more with the universe, then what that does for us is it means that we aren't willing negative things into existence with this gem card here and this Tower in reverse. So when things are built on faulty foundations, as in they aren't aligned for you and they aren't in alignment for anybody else, we inevitably end up with some like tower situation, right? And it's saying here that those tower situations are built up based on the projections here of our own. We manifest what we think is going to happen, or we largely manifest from our fears rather than from the gem. Is when we're connected to the universe, and our willpower is coming from the will of the universe, then we aren't projecting the negative context onto others. So with the sword and the lovers here, there is some aspect and questioning here of like whether you do this with your lovers, or whether you are coming at partnerships from a point of understanding the light and the shadow. We've got the Sun card here. So yeah, I mean, the Nine of Cups and the Sun working towards Nine of Cups, everything we wish for. The Sun, our connection to spirit, working towards that with the nectar. Oh, that looks quite beautiful if we can maintain ourselves in that level of alignment. On the other side here with the sword and the lovers, we have the Knight of Wands, which is a really passionate energy. It's a transformational energy, but the Knight of Wands is not the King of Wands. Like, it's not a focused form of applying fire, applying that passion and desire. And so the Knight of Swords can be something that's a whirlwind situation rather than something that's able to be grounded in and have the stability, because the Knight of Wands lacks the focus of the King of Wands. We have here the Four of Cups, which is a card of being discontent. But, you know, in this card, I don't see it as much as discontent as the other Four of Swords in the other decks that we've been using, and in the Rider Waite. I see it more of like a card of deep contemplation about our emotional states. So if we take the time to contemplate, like, these energies are at odds with each other, right? Contemplating whirlwind. We've either contemplated or we haven't, and we're rushing into something, which is what the Knight of Wands energy is all about. So, you know, there's a requirement here to think about what we rush into on an emotional level with partnerships here, and to cut out what is no longer serving us. To be able to discern between the truth and what is light and what is dark, and to own our own projections of the darker aspects of those partnerships and connections. And that Lover's card usually does manifest as external partnerships, but it doesn't always just have to mean that. It can mean us connected with our higher selves, the balancing of the masculine and the feminine within ourselves, the ability to give and the ability to receive. this is really about like contemplating with the sun here and the four of cups, and the tower reversed with the gem here. What it is that we have willed into desire here, what outcomes have transpired that, whether or not we were privy to it, we were in some ways responsible for. I mean, we've got this Nine of Cups here on, like, that flipped up. So when a card flips up while I'm dealing, it largely means that everybody around us understands that this is the state and this is the energy that we're in. So the Nine of Cups card is our wish card. So there is some level of wishing for something, but we need to make sure that when we wish for something, that we're not projecting that rather than just using our willpower and our connection to the divine to grow and allow that to manifest for us. So we've pulled these two oracle cards. The first one is New Blueprints. Powerful, meaningful change starts with you today. Despite our desire for change, we can be overwhelmed by all that is going on, and making a positive impact can seem impossible. We have more of a voice when we realize this card inspires action, no matter how small, that will create a ripple of light in the world. And then the second card that we have is the Violet Flame. And I don't know which of all of these videos will upload first, but I was talking about Violet Flame for myself earlier in another reading that I did, so it wouldn't surprise me if this is actually Leo's reading. As we deepen our spiritual path, step out of illusory constructs that we create and project, and become empowered beings, life presents more opportunities to grow than before. Your sensitivity will be heightening, so it may be harder to spend time in places with certain energies. Do you have a range of accessible go-to practices for recentering, cleansing your aura, and protecting your energy fields? Okay, so that's what we're being asked to do on this Gemini full moon, to connect with our go-to practices for recentering, cleansing our aura, and protecting our energy fields. If we can be honest about this projection, whether it be other people projecting things onto us or us projecting things onto other people, then we're going to be able to clear up that energy with this sword card and transform it in a way that's been deeply contemplative and meaningful for us. Alright, let's see who I am reading for. I am reading for Taurus. Alright, Taurus. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you again on the 18th or 19th for your full moon reading. Until then, enjoy the for the new moon reading on the 18th and 19th. Until then, enjoy your Gemini full moon, and we will see you again in 2 weeks' time. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. I am doing a bit of munch and crunch, so just give me a second to have another bite here and a sip of water before we move on. Alright. So I am reading blind again. you are the last group, so it's getting very slim as to who I'm now reading for. Nonetheless, I have continued to read in this double blind fashion because it was more beneficial for me. So it was a way for me to give and deliver messages for the collective and to prove that I wasn't like trying to magician collective energies, but it just ended up being more beneficial to me because I listened to those readings throughout the last 2-week period. Like I've listened, I think, twice to my sun, moon, rising, and yeah, it's just been a lot more beneficial for me. So I figured I'm going to continue with it because I like where we're going. Okay, so for this collective, we have this King of Cups card, and that has come up face up. So I just want to let you know that, you know, obviously the King of Cups is balanced emotions and that everybody else can see, right? When a card turns face up, when I'm shuffling, it means that it's something that everybody else in your vicinity is aware of, that you're working through and going through, or that you possess, or we'll see what comes up here for the King of Cups. Okay, so let's start with, we've got agape, understanding the nature of the universe. Let's just take a quick read of some of the light and shadow aspects of agape as a transformative experience. So you've got the opportunity to go through this transformative experience at this full moon. And it says devotion and unconditional love, service, reverence, honor, and joy. When in the dark, spiritual bypassing and righteousness. What if instead of putting yourself at the center of your spiritual practice, you put God, goddess, or nature at the center? How would that change your approach? We have got, oh my goodness, Thanatos. So I'm going to read from Thanatos as well. This is like a fair bit of initiations going on here for this collective. We've got death is ongoing and omnipresent, an eternal response to the gift of birth. Witnessing the ending of another being, creature, or phase, or stage has deep consequences for the psyche. We are forever changed by death as it sweeps us under its wings, making us relinquish control in every form. When in light, grieving, mourning, bearing witness to all that is. When in dark, fear or insensitivity to old age, illness, and the dying. Facing death leads to Athena. Truth. Aletheia. My Greek isn't very good, so I might be buggering some of these up. There are those with a great gift for navigating death energy. Thankfully, we find these generous souls in emergency rooms, hospitals, hospice centers, and the like. All right. And we have the dead end. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to read it from the guidebook again. I normally don't read from the guidebook this much. This is craziness. The dead end. I mean, one, four, three. I don't know if I've ever pulled this card in a reading, or any of my clients have. I don't know if I've actually read it. I mean, some of these things are kind of self-explanatory, but I do like some of the things that they say. So it says, note that in most stories and movies, the moment the protagonist reaches the dead end, something riveting happens. You are the protagonist. The closed door, the final chapter, the impasse. Acceptance, humility, relief, and reverence for change. When in dark, inertia, stuckness, tension, unconscious gripping. Contrary to what the name implies, the dead end is very much alive. It is a force that stops us from moving forward as planned. It is thick, dense, and uncompromising. A wall beyond all walls. With every bramble, thorn, and stone, it simply states, no more, child. You have reached the last page of this chapter. It is natural to resist its very resistance and struggle even harder to make our way, to prove our point, to hold on to what was. In this way, we fight with life itself. All right. So, we've got the Eight of Cups and the King of Pentacles. The Eight of Cups is about walking away from what no longer serves us. So, Chris Rex says it's like losing your taste for wine and then being upset about it. And so it's a state of essentially, I've got a couple coming out here. It's essentially a state of not yet having integrated that that distaste. Because once you integrate it, or like let's say like you become lactose intolerant, and then you're grieving for your loss of being able to enjoy cheese. Well, if you continue eating it, it's not going to be so pleasant. So when you realize the challenge of eating the cheese, then you no longer are interested in it. Okay, we've got the dark night of the soul. We're talking about challenges here and the journey into darkness. Know your heart and dreams. So there's some level here of the dark night of the soul. Ego patterns soften and soul wisdom emerges. And then we've got knowing your heart and dreams. There seems like the journey into darkness is coming out after the dark night of the soul, right? It's like, it's interesting because you would think first we journey into darkness and then we find our way through the dark night of the soul. I mean, this is saying that we're not going to have a round the block situation here because it's a dead end. So it's not possible for us to have a round the block situation. Leaving with emotional stability. There's something here about leaving with emotional stability. I'm going to turn these all up. With the dead end, we have lying, cheating, and stealing. And you know, it's hard to really think of this card as anything other than that. You know, they say that this man is stealing the swords from his enemies so that his enemies can't attack him. The Knight of Wands is a card of rushing into things, and it's sitting under this death card. So rushing ourselves into the dead end. Set yourself apart by rushing in to remove the tactics of your enemies, but do so with emotional balance. Okay. Alright. So I know exactly what this is about now. And it's about how to be a spiritual warrior or a social justice warrior or whatever you might, you know, however you might identify yourself as. Fighting for what you believe is right. Fighting for just causes. But here's the thing. Those are still subjective experiences, right? And I don't want to make this channel about politics, but like, consider the whole war in the Middle East, right? It's like there are two perspectives and two sides of the story. There's not one side. And if we continue to believe that one side is right and the other side is wrong, then we're gonna reach this dead end, right? Like, war is a dead end, and it seems like on Earth we all lack this ability to reconcile certain different aspects, and like, it's really challenging, you know. Like, I don't understand why there is war, and yet it still manifests in small things in everyday life for me. And so, yes, I can understand why there's war, because it like, let's see what the guidebook suggests for these transformative experiences, because it looks like it's gonna happen. Like, we need to be able to fight for what we believe is right, but we need to be able to fight in an ethical way. So whether that means going at something by, and you know, instead of tearing down an old system, build something that can replace it. Using our destructive energies for good. Sorry. In a positive direction, rather than, like, I don't have to destroy you just for me to exist, sort of thing. Alright, I want to read this journey into darkness and just see if there's any tips and tricks and tools that you can use on the Gemini full moon to assist with your process. It says to dream is to dare to believe. When you don't believe a desire is within reach, denying or pushing it aside can be a way to avoid disappointment or heartache. This card asks you to reconsider the dreams that you have the dreams you have denied yourself. Dare to let them surface. Let them breathe. Perhaps you have sought love and acceptance by living the way someone or society deemed appropriate of you. Your power may be wrapped up in ideas or limitations that are not entirely your own. Meditation. This motivating meditation will help you shift energetic blocks. You'll need a watcher and electronic device to time your movements. Stand up, bend your knees, and move your hips in a figure 8 motion 11 times. Pause, and then repeat the movement every minute for 7 minutes. Try to make the figure 8 a little bigger each time. As you move your hips, feel your energy freeing. Breathe deeply between each round of movement. It's a I believe in you practice, so really working with the root chakra. And then we've got inspired, insightful reflections and actions. Surrounding yourself with protective layers can shut out the full experience of life. You may not feel the sharpness of disappointment, but your capacity to hope, dream, and love will be diminished. This can feel like a generalized dissatisfaction or sadness. Things to ponder and try. It may feel safer to bury the authentic self, to be like everyone else, but what if everyone is burying truth and pretending to be something to fit in with an impossible ideal? By choosing to live authentically, you could start a revolution of happiness. When you shower or bath, revisit the silvery waters of your healing meditation and let your dreams come to life around you. Journaling work. When you feel inspired or down, go within, write down or draw your feelings in whatever way they want to reveal themselves. Stay with your thoughts, sensations, and impressions until you feel there's nothing more to write or draw. Well, for me, there's always more to write. I am like, I can go so deep into things that it's like there is no bottom and there is no end, and that can be very challenging. I can think something through and then come to some level of realization about it and then lose that realization and then have to spend time coming back to it. So we've got the Earth Star Chakra initiation. You're standing at a gateway into the unknown with trust in your heart, ancient remembering in your soul, an inner illumination to light the way. You have access to the seat of creation, the spark of existence, and the codes that hold the blueprints of who and what you are. We have this sacral chakra, the core of creation. Revel in the present moment and feel deeply into your senses, the sensuality of being alive, the breeze on your skin, the scent of the damp earth, the feeling of aligning perfectly into this temple you call your body. So this is a call to be present in the present moment. I don't really know if I have anything else here. Like, I was finding this reading a bit challenging, and you know, it is. I've done 10. This is the 11th reading I've done. So I've been reading for like 5 hours. So that might be part of the challenge. I will read for this collective again in the next couple of days. But there's a lot going on here, right? There's a lot of initiations that are happening that it seems like you have no real say about. It's like on the one hand, we're in the dark night of the soul. And then what did I say? I can write and write and continue to go deeper. And yet there's still more depth to uncover. Really feeling into our body with this sacral card here. And then also being out in the stars. So very much a pull between energies here. All right, who am I reading for? I'm reading for Leo. Yeah, well, and that doesn't surprise me. It's confusing because I'm still confused. And so Leo, I will do another reading for you. Look out for that reading. I'm going to do it 2 days after the full moon, so it should be posted by Wednesday or Thursday for you. This was a difficult one for me. Like, it wasn't flowing as smoothly as I had hoped, and there just wasn't as much clarity that I had about what it is that you're exactly going through. But if you want to listen to a rant, I am going to post a rant about what I learned at the new moon, and that has to do with the Pleiadian Orion Wars and what this full moon relevant to its fixed star. It's at the end of the river that leads to the boot of Orion, and so there's maybe some messages in you from that if you resonate with being a starseed and you are struggling a little bit with processing what we're going through right now. And that's all I really have to say. I'm umming and ahhing a lot. I'm just not exactly I need to leave it at that for now. And I wish I had more, but allow me to go through this Gemini full moon and to get some downloads, and I will upload another reading for you because I'm going to be I'll upload another reading for myself. So thank you, Leo. Tune in Wednesday or Thursday and I'll have another reading for you because those are 2 substantial initiations to be going through. It's like one of the more, Capricorn had a pretty dense reading as well, but there's a lot going on for you here. So, I mean, I kind of know who we're reading for next because it is the last reading. However, I am going to treat this as a blind reading. So the card that we had that flipped out was this 4 of Pentacles card. And this 4 of Pentacles card, when it flips out, it means that everybody knows that this is where you're at. It's like very obvious. It might not be as obvious to you, but it's obvious to the world around you. And this is the lower aspect of the 10 of Pentacles. The 10 of Pentacles is secure in its abundance. It's an expanded level of abundance, where the 4 of Pentacles is a contracted level of abundance, clinging on to what we have, potentially because there's a fear of not having something else in the future. So we've got the desert, an emotionally dry and vacant time. We've got the warrior, which is, it's obviously a card of fighting for some cause. And we've got the Kiss. The Kiss card is about how intimacy and connection fills our cup. It's like the explanation card for the Ace of Pentacles card. So let's get a shadow card and see what this collective is. What shadow aspect can this collective move through? We have conflict. Okay. Know what you like. Focus on your likes. Okay, well, I mean, this seems like a very easy to read reading, which is nice sometimes. So the reading is essentially saying that you're not emotionally fulfilled at this time, and you realize that you are in an emotionally vacant time. You might also realize that that emotional vacancy is because you're holding on to something that isn't in your highest interest or that no longer serves you. The conflict here is Strength and the Hermit. It is about having the willpower to actually disengage. The Hermit is the card of the one who goes in, the one who takes a pilgrimage, the one who secludes themselves to come to some level of inner knowingness and understanding. So with that being as a challenge here, it's saying that there's conflict to being by yourself to get some level of inspiration or some intuitive guidance on which way to go forwards. We have got the King of Pentacles. Okay. Holding on to money, holding on to physical security, reaching for that when it's giving no sense of contentment or joy. Maybe we're staying in a job that no longer serves us. We've got Death under the Warrior and the Nine of Swords under the Kiss. So death is an inevitable transformation. And so when we look at Death, the Nine of Swords, and the Kiss, it's like there's some level of inevitable transformation that happens when we engage with other people in a meaningful and contextual way. And yet there seems to be some level of conflict about being able to cope with that. Let's take a look at the Warrior here and see what. So the conflict is lacking the strength and willpower to do the inner work, yet warring against some level of stability coming to an end. I really wonder, and I presume I'm reading for Libra, but at the new moon readings, I got to the very last reading and I actually didn't know who I was reading for. So I could be completely and entirely wrong. But okay, so it seems to me, I don't even know why that was relevant, but it seems to me that there's some level of stability and security that you're unwilling to give up on, unwilling to let go of, but it's no longer serving you. and you realize in some ways that it's holding you back from what it is that you truly want. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Got a few more cards here, and then we're gonna go. Okay, so the first card that we have is radical expansion. Okay, it may be because you lack the ability to have that radical expansion. It says it's time for radical ways of being and thinking. You can start by granting yourself the freedom and creativity to be you. Right. And I did feel that here with the Strength and the Hermit, right? So there's some level of like inner being and inner knowingness that we're lacking. It's like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I stand for. I don't know what I want out of life. But I'm going to grasp at something that I don't want, or I'm not sure whether I want it, which is giving me absolutely no like emotional fulfillment. And maybe I even have anxiety about reaching towards things that might fill my cup because I don't know. I don't want the old structures to crumble. Those old structures. We've got awakened awareness, and oh, I've got so many here. This is not what let's put this one back. That is not, I didn't intend, I gotta take it. It came out. All right. Life force energy. Okay. Now, what did I just say? Those structures. Life force energy, awakened awareness. These are sort of seeming very similar here. It says, revel in the bliss of being alive. This card is packed with luminous life force energy for optimal health and healing. There are many levels of awakening. Keep learning and putting yourself into situations where you can grow. This is the one that we needed. Okay, so that's the challenge here and the conflict, that we don't, you're not being willing to put yourself into new situations where you can go. It says to stay aligned with your inner guidance, which is clearly lacking right now, because there's conflict over this strength to be able to find that inner guidance and follow it. Eat healthy, keep your body active, and have life goals, but with enough space to hear the answers to your prayers. Okay. All right. So are we reading for Libra? Oh, we're reading for Pisces. All right, Pisces. We've got this heart chakra unfurling back to love. This chakra card represents love in its many forms. It reminds you that everything in life can unfold into love or fear. So what I actually got from this, as I went to read that, was that sometimes it is enough to choose small things to love, right? Like, I love coffee, but most days I go and have my coffee and I'm doing work. I'm not just sitting there quietly enjoying nature like this and enjoying the coffee. Like, I'm having the coffee because I do have a bit of a nicotine and a caffeine dependence, and like a lot of people, doesn't mean that it's all right, but I'm not enjoying the thing, right? I'm just doing it because it's repetitive and it's part of what I need, but I'm not enjoying the things that I need and that I actually do love, because I love good coffee. So taking the time here to celebrate and enjoy those little loves. If you love, some people don't love this, but other people do. Like, it can be funny bathing your pet, right? Like, enjoy the little funny moments. Right now, it's a time to, like, with this desert and, like, and anxiety and the kids, I just feel like things are really dry, stripped down to the bone, and yet you're grasping at the dry bone. Give up the bone for a while and, like, spend a little bit of time here with these little things that you love. Whether it's bird watching, you know, spending time in nature, riding your bike, doing your yoga. Revel in the bliss of being alive. Yeah. So when we can't change the big things, we can sometimes get completely stuck and get it very much into a jam. And so if we allow ourselves to revel in the small things, it starts filling our cup up a bit more, and then we have more. Well, first of all, it relieves some of this anxiety and clinging, and then it allows us to go a little bit deeper within to ourselves so that we can actually have the strength to pull out and pull into some new experiences that we might enjoy. Trying new things. If you like ballet, maybe you try jazz. If you play drums, maybe you go play the bass guitar for a while. If you normally knit, going to a crochet class, like, to change things up and get back into that place where you understand that life is about contrast, which contrast is another energetic vibration of conflict. But it doesn't have to be. There's sort of two sides of the same. Contrast allows us. Without contrast, there is no conflict. And so when we continue to hold on to old things, it doesn't allow us to expand our life force because there's no place to expand into, if that makes any sense. All right, Pisces, I hope you got something valuable out of that reading. Thanks again for joining us, and I will see you guys again on the full moon, or new moon, which will be the 18th, 19th of December. All right, I'll see you guys then.